Life in Tanzania. $500 budget, beautiful women, and Africa's hidden side. What if I told you that with just $500, you could live comfortably in a country where sunsets look like paintings, where strangers smile at you like old friends, and where life moves to the rhythm of drums, waves, and laughter? No, this isn't a fantasy. This is real, and it's happening right now in Tanzania. Welcome to one of the most overlooked yet soul-stirring places on Earth, a country where your money stretches in ways you wouldn't believe. Want fresh food every day, a cozy place to live, and a lifestyle that feels free from the daily grind, all for the cost of one weekend out in New York? It's possible here, and that's just the start. People are whispering about the beauty of Tanzanian women, not just in appearance but in how they carry themselves, grounded in culture, strength, and pride. But wait, how far can that $500 really take you? What's behind the smiles and the markets, the music, and the mystery? Let's get real about life in Tanzania. Not the tourist version, the real one. You might never look at home the same way again. Let's get something straight right off the bat. Tanzania isn't one of those places that screams for attention. It doesn't brag. It doesn't push itself in your face. But the moment you land here, it quietly grabs hold of you. And it doesn't let go. This country isn't just stunning to look at. It's surprisingly affordable, full of warm people and layered with culture that you probably don't hear much about. But once you do, you'll wonder why no one talks about it more. You're here because the title probably made you stop. Maybe it was the $500 budget part. Maybe it was the mention of beautiful women. Or maybe you were curious about Africa's so-called hidden side. Whichever part caught your attention, it wasn't an exaggeration. The cost of living here, it's real. The beauty, also real. And the hidden side? Oh, you'll see. But this video isn't going to be filled with glossy brochure-style clips or luxury resorts that no one on a budget can afford. This isn't a highlight reel made for tourists. This is about everyday life, real talk, and what it's actually like to live in Tanzania. Let's start with the basics. Tanzania is in East Africa, bordered by countries like Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, and Zambia. On its eastern edge, it stretches all the way to the Indian Ocean, where the island of Zanzibar offers beaches that could compete with any Caribbean destination. Go inland, and you'll find the wide-open plains of the Serengeti, home to the most famous wildlife migration in the world. Further north sits Mount Kilimanjaro, Africa's tallest peak, quietly watching over everything with its snow-covered crown. And if you head south, you'll find lush highlands, quiet lakes, and villages that haven't changed much in generations. Now, about that budget, how does $500 even make sense? Well, here's the math. Tanzania's cost of living is around 60% lower than in the United States. That means your daily spending, rent, food, and transport are dramatically cheaper. A simple one-bedroom apartment outside a city center can cost less than $100 a month. Meals. Street food is not only delicious but costs as little as $1 to $2. Public transport, often less than $1 per ride. And we're not talking about scraping by, we're talking about living comfortably, especially if you're smart with your money. But here's the twist most people don't see coming. This isn't a country where cheap means low quality. In fact, it's the opposite. The food is fresh, most of it grown locally. People eat what's in season. The fruit actually tastes like fruit. You can get ripe mangoes, juicy pineapples, bananas, and avocados the size of your head, all for pocket change. And when it comes to health and wellness, people walk more. They eat less processed junk. There's a natural rhythm to life here that many people in big cities have lost touch with. Still, Tanzania isn't just about saving money. It's about people. Over 120 ethnic groups live here, each with their own customs, traditions, and languages. Swahili is the national language, and almost everyone speaks it. But depending on where you go, you'll hear Chaga, Sukuma, Haya, and many more. What's remarkable is that even with all this diversity, there's a strong sense of national identity. People are proud to be Tanzanian. You'll feel it in how they greet you, how they look out for each other, and how they include strangers in their day-to-day lives without hesitation. Let's talk about what most people never hear. Tanzania isn't always in the spotlight. It's not flashy. It doesn't have a giant tourism marketing machine pushing it into your social feeds every 2 seconds. But that's what makes it better. It's not overrun. It feels more real. You're not going to bump into a Starbucks on every corner, and you won't see influencers crowding every viewpoint. What you will find is authenticity. People living life on their own terms, in a way that still feels rooted to the land and to tradition. And yes, people are talking about Tanzanian women, and not just because of looks. Of course, beauty is part of it. But there's more than appearance here. There's confidence, pride, elegance. There's a strength that comes from generations of women running households, raising kids, running markets, and lately, running businesses too. In many parts of Tanzania, women are the backbone of the economy. They're community leaders, entrepreneurs, teachers, and cultural icons. And the way they balance grace with strength? It's something that catches people off guard, in the best way. There's another side to Tanzania too, the one hidden behind the safaris and the souvenirs. This is where tradition still rules, where elders sit under trees and tell stories, where music isn't just entertainment, it's communication. Where food is shared and time slows down. It's not always perfect, there are challenges. But there's a certain magic in how people face those challenges, with patience, humor, and an unbeatable sense of community. So now that we've scratched the surface, it's time to dig in deeper. This isn't about romanticizing a place. It's about showing what real life looks like when you live on less and get more. From the streets of Arusha to the beaches of Zanzibar, from the spice markets to the small village homes, we're going to break it all down. Because maybe, just maybe, Tanzania isn't just another country on the map. Maybe it's a mirror that shows us what we've forgotten. That you don't need a lot to live well. That simplicity can feel rich. That life isn't about how much you have. It's about how fully you live it. So, let's break it down and show you why Tanzania might be the most underrated country in the world. Let's get straight to the question everyone's thinking. Can you really live in Tanzania on just $500 a month? The short answer is yes. The long answer is yes, and you might actually enjoy life more than you thought possible. In most Western countries, $500 is what some people spend just on groceries or weekend brunch. But in Tanzania, that same amount can cover your rent, food, transport, and even a few nights out. And no, we're not talking about roughing it in a tent or living off instant noodles. We're talking about real living. Meals cooked fresh, a roof over your head, and the freedom to slow down and enjoy life. Let's break it down. Rent is the biggest part of anyone's monthly budget. In smaller towns or even just outside big cities like Arusha or Dodoma, a basic but clean one-bedroom apartment can cost as little as $80 to $120 a month. That's for a place with running water, electricity, and sometimes even a small yard. If you're in a bigger city and want something a bit more modern, maybe with Wi-Fi and a nice view, you could be looking at $150 to $200. Still very manageable. For comparison, in New York or London, you might pay $1,500 just for a shoebox-sized room that doesn't even include utilities. So yeah, living costs here aren't just lower, they're almost in a different universe. Next is food. And this is where Tanzania shines. You can eat well here, and I don't mean fast food or canned soup. A full plate of rice, beans, and grilled meat can cost around $1 to $2 at a local restaurant. If you cook at home using local ingredients like fresh vegetables, rice, bananas, and seasonal fruits, you'll easily stay within a budget of $70 to $100 a month. And the food? It actually tastes good. Mangoes that are juicy. Avocados that make you question everything you ever knew about guacamole. Eggs that came from a chicken that probably walked past your house that morning. Transport is another area where you save big. Public buses, locally called dala-dalas, are extremely cheap, sometimes under $0.30 for a ride across town. If you're going a bit farther, shared taxis or motorbike taxis, boda-bodas, usually cost no more than $1 to $2, depending on the distance. In a whole month, if you're using local transport regularly, $30 to $50 is more than enough. Compare that to gas, insurance, and car payments in the US, and suddenly that rusty but reliable boda-boda sounds a lot more appealing. Then we have utilities and internet. Electricity bills are usually low, around $10 to $20 a month if you're being smart with usage. Water is also cheap, sometimes included in the rent. As for internet, mobile data plans are affordable, with 10-15 GB costing about $10 to $15 per month depending on the provider. Wi-Fi for your home may cost $20 to $30 depending on speed and location, so overall, you're looking at about $20 to $40 for your entire monthly utility and internet needs. Let's pause and stack it all together. Rent, 100 food, 80 transport, 40 utilities and internet. $30, total $250. That still leaves you with another $250 for personal spending, savings, unexpected expenses, or just treating yourself to weekend trips or nicer meals. That's half the budget gone, and you're already living well. Now imagine spending $500 in Los Angeles. That might cover your monthly car insurance and a tank of gas if you're lucky. Or in London, that's a week of food and maybe 2 train rides if you don't sneeze too loudly on the platform. Now, here's something most people get wrong. When they hear low cost of living, they automatically think it means low quality of life. But that's not always true. In Tanzania, the quality of life isn't measured by how many Amazon boxes are on your doorstep. It's measured by time. Time to breathe, time to think, time to sit outside with neighbors and drink tea without checking your phone every 5 seconds. It's in the small things. Smiling children playing soccer in the street with a homemade ball, women cooking, in open-air kitchens, laughing and sharing stories, fresh markets bursting with colors and sounds. You don't need luxury when the basics are this fulfilling. Take it from expats and digital nomads living in Arusha. Many of them came for short-term travel and just never left. Some are remote workers who realized they could do Zoom calls from anywhere, so why not choose a place where rent is low and life is calm? Others came to volunteer, fell in love with the vibe, and found ways to stay. A guy from Canada who used to pay $1,800 a month for a basement apartment now rents a 3-bedroom house with a garden for under $250. And the crazy part? He says the internet is better in Tanzania than it was back home. And let's not forget the humor in all this, because the contrast is honestly hilarious. Your New York rent couldn't even buy you a chicken coop here, and that's not a metaphor. A basic local home, not far from town, could be built for less than your city's parking ticket fines. And here, people actually greet you when they pass by, not with side eyes or headphones, but with genuine hellos. That kind of wealth doesn't show up in bank statements, but it shows up in how your shoulders relax a little more each day. So, when people ask, "Can I live in Tanzania on $500 a month?" the answer isn't just yes. The better answer is, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to live in a place where you can afford peace, connection, and time? All the things money can't really buy but somehow does here, this doesn't mean it's perfect. There are things to get used to, like power cuts, spotty roads, and systems that don't always run like clockwork. But that's part of the trade-off, and for most people who've tried it, the trade is more than worth it. You trade stress for sunsets, bills for balance, and expensive coffee shop small talk for real. Conversations over homemade food. So, yes, $500 a month can work. More than that, it can change your whole view of what living well really means. And the more you think about it, the more you realize that maybe the real luxury isn't in having more stuff. It's in having less pressure, less noise, more life. And if that's not worth a second look at Tanzania, I don't know what is. Nature and landmarks. Let's talk about Tanzania's natural side. The one that doesn't just make you stop and stare but makes your jaw drop and forget how to speak for a second. Honestly, it's like someone gave Mother Nature a blank canvas and a box of crayons with no rules. The result? Landscapes so unreal, they look like they were photoshopped. But they're not. Tanzania is where nature decided to throw a party and forgot to invite subtlety. First, we have Mount Kilimanjaro. You've probably heard of it before. It's not just a mountain, it's a life goal. This snow-capped giant stands tall at nearly 6,000 meters, that's over 19,000 feet, and is the highest point in Africa. But it's not just about climbing it. Even seeing it from a distance feels powerful. One moment you're walking through a flat village and then suddenly, boom, this monster of a mountain is towering above the clouds like it's guarding the entire continent. And the wild part, it's a freestanding mountain, which means it doesn't sit in a range. It just rises up out of nowhere, like nature hit the surprise button. People come from all over the world just to try hiking to the top, and for many, it's one of the hardest yet most rewarding things they'll ever do. It's less of a hike and more of a personal challenge dressed in ice and clouds. Then there's the Serengeti. If Kilimanjaro is the king of mountains, then the Serengeti is the queen of wild drama. This massive stretch of land, about 30,000 in square kilometers, looks like endless golden fields under a giant blue sky. But the real show, that comes when the animals start moving. The Serengeti is home to the Great Migration, where over 1 million wildebeest, along with zebras and gazelles, make a circle through Tanzania and Kenya in search of fresh grass. Now, we're not talking a few herds. We're talking a literal sea of animals, running, leaping, roaring, grunting, and yes, occasionally getting chased by lions. It's one of the most mind-blowing natural events on Earth, and it happens every year, like clockwork. If the Lion King gave you goosebumps as a kid, the Serengeti will give you full-body chills. And if you think Tanzania is all land and no beach, let's introduce you to Zanzibar. Yes, it's part of Tanzania. And yes, it looks like someone took a tropical island dream and turned it into real life. Think white sand so soft it squeaks under your feet, and turquoise water so clear you can see your own shadow swimming. Zanzibar is more than just a pretty face, though. It's packed with culture. Stone Town, the old part of the capital, has narrow alleyways, carved wooden doors, and buildings that show off centuries of Arabic, Indian, and Swahili influence. You'll find mosques next to churches, spice markets bursting with scent, and locals telling stories that go back generations. It's a place where the past and present walk side by side, hand in hand, without rushing anywhere. Now let's swing back inland and talk about something wild, literally. The Great Rift Valley cuts through Tanzania like a scar made by the gods themselves. It's a massive trench that stretches thousands of kilometers across East Africa and has shaped some of the most breathtaking landscapes you'll ever see. Inside this valley, you'll find Lake Manyara with its flamingos and tree climbing. Lions, yes, lions that actually hang out in trees like oversized cats, and you'll also find the Ngorongoro crater. Ah, yes, the Ngorongoro crater. Sounds like something out of a fantasy movie, and honestly, it kind of is. It's the world's largest inactive volcanic caldera, and inside it is one of the most packed wildlife spots in Africa. You're basically in a bowl of nature. One minute, you'll see elephants walking calmly along the ridge, and the next, a pride of lions lazing under a tree. There's a sense of peace there, mixed with this buzz that anything could happen at any second. Some call it Africa's Eden. I call it proof that Earth really went all out when designing this place. Lake Victoria also deserves a mention. It's the largest lake in Africa and the second largest freshwater lake in the world. It touches 3 countries, Tanzania, Uganda, and Kenya, and plays a huge role in fishing, transport, and everyday life. But it's more than just a water source. It's where people gather, where kids swim, where fishermen tell tall tales about the one that got away. The lake holds culture as much as it holds water. What makes all of this even more incredible is how close these places are to each other. You could be on the beach in Zanzibar one day, walking the edges of a crater the next, and sipping tea while staring at Kilimanjaro by the weekend. It's not just beautiful. It's overwhelming. Not in a stressful way, but in a how can all of this possibly fit into one country kind of way. And here's the part that really messes with people's heads. All this natural beauty isn't behind glass or locked away in a museum. It's part of daily life. People live among it. They farm near the wildlife. They walk past the mountains. They pray under these skies. This isn't visiting nature. This is life here. Oh, and let's add a little humor to the mix, because honestly, it's deserved. You know how in most countries nature is either tamed or trimmed? Not here. In Tanzania, nature is extra. Like fully dramatic. It's like Mother Nature took steroids and decided to show off. Oh, you like that mountain? Cool. Here's a migration of 1 million wildebeest. Still want more? How about a crater the size of an entire city, with lions inside it? It doesn't do small, it does epic, and it does it without warning. So, when people say Tanzania is beautiful, that's putting it too lightly. This isn't about pretty sunsets or nice beaches. This is about standing in front of something so big, so alive, that it reminds you how tiny you really are, and somehow that makes you feel even more connected to the world. You don't have to be an explorer or a biologist to appreciate it. You just need eyes. Maybe a camera if you want proof you were there. But honestly, even if your phone battery dies, you won't care. The kind of beauty in Tanzania stays in your memory long. After you've left, it's wild, it's raw, and it's waiting. Let's talk about something that brings everyone together, no matter where you're from: food. And in Tanzania, food isn't just about filling your stomach. It's about flavor, culture, and community. Whether you're in a city or a small village, one thing is guaranteed. You'll never go hungry, and you'll never be bored by what's on your plate. Tanzanian food is bold, comforting, and full of personality. You might not recognize the names at first, but after a few bites, you'll remember the taste forever. Let's start with ugali. It's a staple, and you'll find it in nearly every home. It's a thick, dough-like side made from maize flour and water. Doesn't sound exciting? Just wait. It's not meant to be eaten alone. Ugali is your edible spoon. You tear off a piece with your fingers, roll it into a ball and scoop up stew, veggies, or meat with it. And trust me, once you get the hang of it, it's addictive. Some foreigners raise an eyebrow at first, but by day 3, they're eating it like pros and asking for seconds. Now pair that with nyama choma, which literally means grilled meat. Usually beef, goat, or chicken, it's cooked slowly over. Hot coals until it's smoky, juicy, and packed with flavor. No fancy sauces, no overcomplicated recipes. Just salt, fire, and meat. Pure and simple. You eat it with your hands, often outdoors, surrounded by laughter, music, and conversation. It's more than just dinner. It's an experience. Feeling like something spiced and a little fancier? Go for pilau rice. This is rice cooked with a mix of spices like cinnamon, cloves, cardamom, and cumin. Add meat, veggies, or both, and you've got a dish that smells like a celebration and tastes like one too. It's common during special occasions, weddings, and family gatherings, but you'll also find it in restaurants and local homes. You might come for the budget travel, but after one bite of pilau, you'll stay for the flavor. Coconut-based stews are another highlight, especially along the coast and in Zanzibar, where Swahili cuisine takes the lead. Curries with coconut. Milk, fresh fish, green bananas, and tender chicken are served over rice or chapati, flatbread, and they're rich without being heavy. They're the kind of dishes that warm you from the inside out and make you wonder why you ever thought bland. Food was okay. If you're craving a snack or something quick, Tanzania's street food game is elite. Seriously. Start with mishkaki, grilled meat skewers marinated in spices and cooked to perfection. It's the Tanzanian version of barbecue. And once you try it, you'll see why locals line up for it. Then there's chipsi mayai, which sounds strange until you try it. It's a French fry omelet. Yes, fries mixed with beaten eggs and fried into a thick golden pancake. Served with ketchup or spicy chili sauce, it's greasy in all the right ways and a favorite late-night bite. Add roasted maize to the list. Simple, slightly smoky, and sold on almost every street corner. It's food that keeps you full and flavors that keep calling you back. Now, let's talk about coffee. Not the watered-down kind. Not the overpriced kind. This is real coffee from the Kilimanjaro region, grown on the mountain slopes where the climate is perfect for beans. It's strong, rich, and full of character. When locals serve it, they don't ask how you take it. They just give it to you hot and bold. Sometimes it comes sweetened, sometimes spiced, but always strong enough to kick your soul awake. And here's the best part. Forget your $7 Starbucks. Here you get it strong, hot, and served with a story. Seriously, coffee here isn't just a drink. It's something you talk over, bond over, and reflect with. It's not unusual to sit under a tree, sipping fresh coffee while hearing stories from someone who's been roasting beans for decades. Another everyday favorite is mandazi, which is kind of like a donut but not as sweet. It's slightly crispy on the outside, soft on the inside, and best enjoyed warm. Have it with tea or coffee in the morning or as an afternoon snack. And if you like fried treats, sambusas, similar to samosas, filled with minced meat or veggies, are everywhere. Golden brown, crispy, and filled with flavor, they're cheap, satisfying, and travel-friendly. There's something special about how food is served in Tanzania. It's not rushed. Meals are shared. You don't eat alone if someone else is around. You sit, talk, pass plates, and laugh between bites. Even if you're a stranger, you're often invited to join in. It's not weird. It's just the culture. Food isn't a solo act here. It's a group performance. Also worth noting is how fresh everything is. Many people buy groceries daily, and most food is local. That means the tomatoes taste like tomatoes, the eggs have bright orange yolks, and the greens haven't traveled halfway across the world to reach your plate. You eat what's in season, what's nearby, and what your neighbor just grew. It's cheaper, healthier, and tastes better. Simple. And of course, we can't forget spices. Tanzania, especially Zanzibar, is known as the Spice Island for a reason. Cloves, nutmeg, black pepper, turmeric, cinnamon, these are all grown locally and sold in markets by the handful. They end up in stews, rice, tea, and even desserts. Everything is seasoned with intention, not salt alone. It's the kind of flavor that lingers in your memory long after you've finished eating. What's also great is that Tanzanian food doesn't pretend to be something it's not. There are no fusion experiments gone wrong. No foam on a plate. It's straightforward, comforting, and honest. You know what you're eating, and you know who made it. And if you stick around long enough, you might learn to make it yourself. Locals love teaching people how to cook, and it's usually done casually. No recipes written down, just a pinch of this, a splash of that, and a lot of love. So, if you thought traveling on a budget meant skipping good food, Tanzania is here to prove you wrong. From rich stews to roadside snacks, strong coffee to spicy rice, every meal feels like a warm hug from the country itself. It fills your belly, your heart, and sometimes even your camera roll, though honestly, no photo will do it justice. Come hungry, leave happy, and probably return craving more. Tanzanian women. There's something powerful about Tanzanian women. That's hard to put into words, but once you meet them, you feel it. It's not just how they look, though many are undeniably beautiful. It's their style, their presence, and the way they carry themselves. You'll see it in how they walk, how they speak, and how they handle everyday life with confidence that doesn't need to shout. Whether they're running a business, leading a household, or chatting with friends at the market, Tanzanian women have a natural grace that grabs your attention and keeps it. Let's start with how they dress, because their style says a lot. Many women wear colorful dresses called kitenge, or kanga, printed in bright patterns and often wrapped in unique ways. These aren't just clothes, they tell stories. Some fabrics come with sayings printed on them like little quotes about life, love, or wisdom. And they wear them with pride. Whether it's for a wedding, church, or just an average day, there's effort in how they look. Head wraps, earrings, bracelets, it all comes together in a way that feels effortless. But you know it's intentional. And the best part? They don't dress to impress anyone. It's for themselves, for their culture, and for their sense of dignity. But style is just the surface. The real story is in their strength. Tanzanian women are hardworking, resilient, and incredibly resourceful. Many juggle multiple roles: mother, wife, business owner, community leader, often all in the same day. You'll see women running small shops, farming their land, managing household chores, and raising children with little to no outside help. They do what needs to be done, often with a baby on their back and a basket on their head, without complaining. And they don't wait for praise. They just keep moving, because that's what strength looks like here. Culturally, women in Tanzania are raised with strong values: modesty, respect for elders, and deep loyalty to family. Many grow up learning that family comes first and that supporting others is part of life. That's not to say every woman follows the same path. Things are changing. In cities especially, gender roles are shifting. More girls are going to school, more women are stepping into leadership roles. And one of the best examples of this change is Dunya Camp in Serengeti National Park. It's Africa's first and only safari camp run entirely by women. From guiding tours to managing bookings, the women here do it all. And they're not just doing the job, they're doing it better than many mixed-gender teams. Visitors often say it's the most organized, welcoming, and impressive experience they've had. These women are proving that strength and hospitality can go hand in hand. Now, let's add a bit of humor here, because truthfully, it fits. Tanzanian. Women don't just carry themselves with confidence. They also have this special way of giving you a look that can stop you mid-sentence. You know the one. The "don't mess with me" stare that needs no words. It's not angry. It's not dramatic. It's just powerful. And if you're lucky enough to be on the receiving end, don't take it personally. Just know you've been silently humbled by someone who's seen a lot, handled even more, and doesn't have time for nonsense. It's not just their beauty. It's their ability to humble you with a look. When it comes to relationships, there's a lot to learn. In many parts of Tanzania, love isn't always about grand gestures or flashy dates. It's more about trust, respect, and shared responsibility. Couples often build their life step by step together. In rural areas, traditional values still play a big role. Many relationships are rooted in long-standing customs. In cities, younger couples are blending modern styles with tradition, texting sweet messages during the day and helping each other cook dinner at night. There's a mix of old and new, and both seem to work in their own ways. But here's where things get interesting, especially for foreigners. Many Westerners come to Tanzania with assumptions about how women behave or what relationships are like, and sometimes they get it completely wrong. Some think modesty means weakness. Others assume that traditional roles mean lack of ambition. Neither could be further from the truth. Tanzanian women might be reserved at first, but don't mistake that for being shy. They speak up when it matters, they handle conflict with calm, and they know what they bring to the table, even if they don't brag about it. Friendships among women here are something special too. You'll often see groups of women sitting together, talking for hours. They share food, laughs, and sometimes tears. These friendships are deep, built over years of shared life. They support each other through motherhood, business, illness, and everything in between. And they lift each other up in ways that are honest and beautiful. It's not about competition or comparison. It's about survival and sisterhood. Even in workplaces, women are making serious moves, from school teachers and nurses to CEOs and tech entrepreneurs. Tanzanian women are pushing boundaries every day. They face challenges, access to education, inequality, and social pressure, but they keep going. And when one woman succeeds, it's seen as a win for the whole community. And then there are the grandmothers, the real bosses. These are the women who hold entire families together with wisdom, patience, and stories passed down through generations. They might not have formal education, but they know life. They know people. They know how to get things done. And if you're lucky enough to be invited into a home, you'll often find Grandma in the background, watching everything, smiling, softly, and making sure the world doesn't fall apart. It's also worth mentioning that not everything is perfect. Just like anywhere else, there are issues that women face. Early marriage in rural areas, access to healthcare, and gender-based violence are still concerns. But what stands out is how women respond. They don't stay silent. They support each other, create community groups, and work with local NGOs to change things. The spirit of activism here is quiet but steady. Change might come slowly, but it's definitely happening. In the end, Tanzanian women are not one thing. They're many things at once: strong and soft, traditional and modern, bold and humble. They walk through life with purpose, not because they're chasing anything, but because they know who they are. And if you take the time to really listen, to really see, you'll learn more from them than any guidebook could ever teach. So, yes, people often come to Tanzania for the mountains or the wildlife. But what many don't expect is to leave with a deep respect for the women who make this country what it is. Their beauty might catch your eye, but it's their strength, heart, and spirit that will stay with you long after you've left. Tanzania is one of those places where culture is everywhere. It's not locked away in museums or saved for holidays. It's in how people dress, how they talk, how they cook, and even how they walk. The people here carry their culture with them, every day, with pride and joy. And the best part? It's not just one culture. Tanzania is home to over 120 different ethnic groups. That means one country, but more languages, traditions, dances, and stories than you could count in a lifetime. Despite all this diversity, there's one thing that unites everyone: Swahili. It's the national language and the heartbeat of the country. Even if people speak different tribal languages at home, Swahili is how the whole nation stays connected. And it's not a difficult language to pick up, especially for travelers. You'll hear phrases like karibu, welcome, and asante, thank you, everywhere. Most Tanzanians also speak basic English, especially in cities and areas with lots of tourists, but learning a few Swahili words earns you instant respect. People appreciate the effort, and it opens doors, sometimes literally. Now, let's talk about the energy of the people. Tanzanians are warm, welcoming, and incredibly laid back. There's a phrase here, pole pole, which means slowly, slowly. Life isn't rushed. Conversations aren't short. Greetings aren't just a quick hi. They come with follow-up questions about your family, your day, and even your health. It's not small talk. It's real connection. People actually care about each other's well-being, and it shows. But one thing that brings everyone together in a big way is music and dance. Tanzanian music is full of rhythm and life. Traditional drums, flutes, and string instruments mix, with modern sounds like bongo flava, a local pop music genre that blends hip-hop, reggae, and R&B with Swahili lyrics. You'll hear it everywhere, from buses to barbershops, and when music plays, it's hard not to move. Tanzanians love to dance, and they do it with serious style. Whether it's a wedding, a birthday, or just a regular Friday, there's always a reason to dance. In the villages, traditional dances still happen, especially during ceremonies like weddings or coming-of-age events. These aren't performances. They're part of life. Drumming circles, singing groups, and dances passed down through generations keep the culture alive in ways that books never could. And if you're invited to join in, don't hesitate. Tanzanians love it when guests take part, even if your dancing is a little, let's say, creative. One of the most iconic groups in Tanzania are the Masai. You've probably seen photos. Tall, slender warriors in red cloth, holding spears, wearing colorful beads. They live mostly in the north of the country and are known for holding on to their traditions despite the changing world around them. Masai men often go through a rite of passage to become warriors, and women wear beautiful handmade jewelry that tells stories about their age, family, and community. Their connection to land, cattle, and tradition is deep. And yet, things are changing. Many young Masai now go to school, start businesses, and yes, use smartphones. And this is where things get interesting. Picture this: a young Masai man, in traditional dress, herding cattle across the plains, and then, out of nowhere, he pulls out his phone and checks Instagram. It's real. It's happening. And it's hilarious in the best way. Culture isn't stuck in the past. It's evolving. There's a wild and wonderful contrast between the old and the new, and somehow it all works. You might see a woman balancing, a basket on her head while talking on a smartphone, or a kid in tribal beads watching TikToks at the local internet cafe. It's the mix that makes it magical. In the cities, you'll find a more modern lifestyle. People wear jeans and t-shirts, hang out at coffee shops, and scroll their phones just like anyone else. But even in the middle of city life, tradition still has a place. Weddings are big, colorful events that often mix old customs with modern music and fashion. Naming ceremonies for babies, funerals, and even birthdays still come with rituals and respect that go back generations. It's not about choosing between the old and the new. It's about carrying both. One thing you'll notice quickly is how respect and manners are built into the culture. Younger people greet elders with a handshake and a bow of the head. There's a natural sense of order and honor. Even when people disagree, they usually do it calmly. Loud arguing or aggressive behavior isn't the norm here, and if you're ever unsure how to act, just be polite and patient. Tanzanians are incredibly forgiving to outsiders, especially if you show humility. Family also plays a huge role in daily life. In many homes, several generations live under one roof. Grandparents help raise the kids. Aunties and uncles pitch in. It's a team effort, and family doesn't just mean blood relatives. Neighbors, family friends, and even distant cousins are part of your circle. It creates a deep sense of support. If someone's sick or struggling, the whole community often steps in to help. And speaking of community, hospitality here is next level. If you visit someone's home, even for a short time, expect to be offered food or tea. It's not polite to refuse. Sharing is built into the culture. Even if people don't have much, they'll share what they do have. It's one of the reasons so many travelers feel at home here so quickly. You're not treated like a stranger. You're treated like a guest, and in many cases, like family. Religion also shapes daily life. Tanzania is religiously diverse, with large populations of Christians and Muslims, plus traditional African spiritual practices. People respect each other's faiths, and it's not uncommon to see churches and mosques standing side by side. Religious holidays are widely celebrated and often include big feasts and community gatherings. Even if you're not religious, you'll feel the impact of these traditions on the rhythm of life. In the end, what makes Tanzania's culture so special isn't just its history or traditions. It's the people who carry them forward every day. Whether it's through a greeting, a dance, a shared meal, or a story told under the stars, Tanzanians know how to make you feel connected. They'll show you that culture isn't something you look at, it's something you live. So yeah, you might come for the safari or the scenery, but it's the people, their kindness, their rhythm, their stories that will stick with you long after the trip is over. And if you're lucky, maybe you'll leave with a few Swahili words, a love for Tanzanian music, and a story or two of your own to share. When people think of Tanzania, many picture wild animals, Masai warriors, and wide-open savannas. And sure, that's a big part of it, but there's another side that surprises almost everyone: the cities. Urban life in Tanzania is full of movement, creativity, and contrast. You'll find young people building tech businesses, sipping cappuccinos, in trendy cafes and running online shops from their phones, right next to someone zipping by on a boda motorbike taxi with a bag of bananas. This mix of modern life and local charm is what makes Tanzanian cities feel so alive. Let's start with Dar es Salaam, the biggest city and main business hub. It sits along the coast of the Indian Ocean, and that alone makes it feel special. One minute you're walking past glass office towers, and the next, you're hearing ocean waves and smelling grilled fish from a food stall. Dar is busy, loud, and full of hustle. Traffic can be wild, markets are packed, and the energy is non-stop. But underneath all that, there's something exciting happening. Young people building apps, creatives launching fashion brands, and tech. Startups finding their way. Dar has its own rhythm, one that pushes forward but never forgets to enjoy a good plate of pilau along the way. Now, let's head north to Arusha, a smaller city with a very different vibe. Arusha is often called the safari capital because it's the starting point for most wildlife tours. But that's just one side of it. This place has charm. The weather is cooler thanks to its location near Mount Meru, and the pace of life is more relaxed. Arusha is surrounded by green hills and coffee farms, so don't be surprised if your morning starts with a cup of fresh local brew that tastes better than anything you've had back home. And even though it's smaller than Dar, Arusha is growing fast. Co-working spaces, tech hubs, and youth-led projects are popping up all over town. It's a place where tradition and progress walk side by side. Then there's Dodoma, Tanzania's official capital. It's quieter, calmer, and definitely more laid back. While most government offices are based here, it still feels more like a large town than a busy city. People ride bikes more than cars. The streets are wide and not overcrowded. Life in Dodoma moves at its own pace, and for many, that's exactly the appeal. It might not have the flash of Dar or the tourist buzz of Arusha, but it's got stability, simplicity, and space to grow. One of the coolest things about city life in Tanzania is how modern technology is blending with everyday routines. Take mobile banking, for example. In big cities and small villages alike, people use their phones to pay bills, send money, or even buy groceries. Services like M-Pesa and Tigo Pesa have changed the way people handle money. You don't need a bank account to make financial moves. Even the Mama Mboga, vegetable seller on the corner, often accepts mobile payments. It's fast, easy, and part of daily life. So yes, while you might see goats crossing the road, you'll also see someone buying airtime with just a few taps on their screen. There's also a huge wave of youth innovation across the cities. Young Tanzanians are using the internet not just for fun, but to create real opportunities. Some are running Instagram shops selling handmade clothes, others are building websites for local businesses, or starting podcasts that discuss everything, from politics to pop culture. What's inspiring is how resourceful people are. Without fancy tools or big budgets, they still manage to create, market, and grow their ideas. It's hustle, but it's smart hustle. Modern cafes are becoming part of the city scene too. In places like Dar and Arusha, you'll find spots with strong Wi-Fi, comfy couches, and flat whites on the menu. These cafes aren't just for coffee. They're spaces where people meet, work, brainstorm, and chill. It's not unusual to see someone having a meeting with a laptop open while sipping passion fruit juice. And while the look might feel international, the vibe stays local. You'll hear Swahili in the background, see local artwork on the walls, and maybe even smell chapati cooking in the kitchen. What really makes Tanzanian city life stand out, though, is the mix of old and new. You can be riding a boda through a noisy street one moment, dodging potholes and chickens, and the next, you're at a tech meetup listening to someone pitch a fintech idea. It's that contrast that keeps things exciting. City life here isn't about having everything perfect. It's about progress, creativity, and finding new ways to do things, even with limited resources. At the same time, urban areas still hold on to community values. Neighbors know each other. People greet you on the street. Even in the middle of downtown Dar, you'll find someone stopping to help a stranger or offering directions with a smile. That mix of kindness and ambition is what makes Tanzanian cities feel different from anywhere else. Of course, no city is perfect. Traffic in Dar can test your patience. Power cuts happen. Internet isn't always lightning fast, but people find ways to make it work. Generators hum in the background, phone data gets used wisely, and somehow the city keeps moving forward. Pull, slowly, but always forward. In the end, Tanzania's urban life isn't just about skyscrapers or shopping malls. It's about people adapting, dreaming big, and doing things their way. It's about a generation of young minds shaping the future while staying grounded in their roots. So if you thought Tanzania was just national parks and villages, think again. Its cities are growing, glowing, and full of stories waiting to be told. Hidden sides of Tanzania. When people talk about Tanzania, they usually bring up the big names: Mount Kilimanjaro, Serengeti, Zanzibar, and yes, those places are incredible. But there's a whole other side of Tanzania that most travelers never see. These hidden corners of the country are quieter, less touched by tourism, but packed with real charm and deep stories. If you really want to understand Tanzania, you have to look beyond the famous spots. Because what you won't see on Instagram is what makes this country so special. Let's start with Mbeya. It's in the southern highlands, surrounded by rolling green hills, tea farms, and cool mountain air. The scenery is peaceful. The people are kind, and the vibe is calm. You won't find huge shopping malls or luxury hotels here, but what you will find is authenticity. Farmers bring fresh produce into town on bicycles. Kids walk to school in uniforms, waving at strangers with big smiles. Mbeya is known for being friendly, down to earth, and deeply connected to nature. It's the kind of place where people take the time to talk to you, not because they want to sell you something, but because they're just being polite. Then there's Tanga, a quiet coastal city that often gets overshadowed by Zanzibar and Dar es Salaam. But Tanga has its own kind of beauty. It's by the sea, with an old-world charm that's hard to find. The streets are lined with colonial-era buildings, and there's a relaxed pace of life that makes it perfect for anyone looking to slow down. Tanga is also close to places like Amboni Caves and the lush Usambara Mountains. It's full of history, mystery, and a deep connection to Tanzania's Swahili coast culture. You can feel the mix of African, Arabic, and even European influences just by walking through town. And then we have Lake Eyasi, one of the lesser-known gems. Located near the Great Rift Valley, this lake is home to some of the country's most traditional communities, including the Hadzabe and Datoga people. The Hadzabe are one of the last remaining hunter-gatherer tribes in the world. They live off the land, speak a click-based language, and follow a lifestyle that's almost completely untouched by modern life. Visiting this area is like stepping into a different world. Not a museum version of culture, but the real thing. Still living and breathing. It's humbling, it's eye-opening, and it's something most people don't even know exists. Now, let's talk about real Tanzanian family life, the kind you don't see in movies or brochures. Most households are big. It's normal for extended families to live together or very close by. You'll find grandparents, parents, children, cousins, and sometimes even neighbors sharing meals and responsibilities. There's always someone around, always something going on. And while that might sound chaotic to some, there's comfort in it. People look out for each other. If someone's sick, everyone steps in. If there's a celebration, everyone shows up. It's less about me and more about we. Inside these homes, traditions are still strong. Food is cooked from scratch, usually over open flames or charcoal stoves. Children are taught to respect elders, greet visitors properly, and always share what they have. And let's not forget the storytelling grandmas. Every neighborhood seems to have one. These women are the keepers of history, the unofficial counselors, and the best source of life advice. They'll sit on a wooden stool with a cup of sweet tea and tell you things that no book ever could. They know who married who moved away, who came back, and what lessons life has taught them. Their stories aren't just entertainment, they're education. If you really want to see Tanzania, visit a local market. That's where life happens. You'll find colorful fruits and vegetables piled high, smells of spices in the air, and people bargaining over prices with big smiles. Markets aren't just for shopping. They're for talking, meeting friends, and catching up on the latest news. And it's not all about food. You'll find clothes, shoes, household items, and even stalls where traditional healers sell herbs and natural remedies. These traditional healers still play a big role in many communities. People go to them for stomach aches, fevers, or even emotional troubles. Some use leaves and roots, others use prayer and rituals passed down from their ancestors. It's a reminder that not all healing comes from a pharmacy. One of the most beautiful things about Tanzania is how modern life and tradition sit at the same table. You'll see someone making a mobile payment on their phone while sitting next to their grandmother who still uses a cooking pot from 40 years ago. A teenager might be posting selfies online while her mother is preparing a dish using a recipe that's been in the family for generations. No one sees a problem with the mix. It just makes sense. It's not about choosing one or the other. It's about living in both worlds. Even in the smaller towns where technology isn't everywhere, people are adapting. Students study on their phones when there's no library. Farmers check weather updates through radio or text messages. Tailors use sewing machines powered by solar panels. It's a quiet kind of progress. Not flashy, but real. And the respect for tradition never disappears. People don't need to give up their culture to move forward. They carry it with them, and that balance is what makes Tanzania so special. Of course, this hidden side of Tanzania has its challenges. Access to healthcare and education isn't always easy. Some roads are rough and services can be limited. But people make it work. They build, fix, share, and support each other in ways that are honestly inspiring. In a world that's always rushing and competing, Tanzania offers a different message. Slow down, look around, and take care of each other. So yes, the safaris and beaches are amazing. But the true heart of Tanzania? It's in places you won't find on a postcard. It's in the villages with no street names, the markets with no price tags, and the homes where shoes are left at the door and everyone gets a plate of food. It's in the silence of the mountains, the laughter of a shared meal, and the wisdom of an elder's quiet voice. These are the sides of Tanzania that don't show up in travel ads, but they should, because behind every mountain and beyond every beach, there's a deeper story waiting to be heard, and once you hear it, you'll never forget it. So, let's take a step back and think about everything we've just seen and talked about. Tanzania is one of those places that doesn't shout to get your attention, but once it has it, it never lets go. It's not loud, it's not flashy, it's just quietly beautiful, deeply real, and surprisingly full of everything you didn't know you were missing. We started with something simple. The idea that you can live well here on just $500 a month. And we weren't joking. That kind of money gets you a place to live, good food every day, and a lifestyle that feels slower, richer, and more connected. You don't have to be rich to feel free. You just need to be in the right place. And Tanzania makes you feel like life's pressure button has finally been switched off. Then we explored the nature, which isn't just beautiful. It's out of this world. Mount Kilimanjaro, towering in the clouds, the endless plains of the Serengeti, the calm shores of Zanzibar, and the wild corners of Lake Eyasi. These aren't background views. These are moments that stop you in your tracks. And they remind you that there's still so much left on this planet to feel amazed by. We talked about food, ugali, nyama choma, pilau, coconut stews, and street snacks like mishkaki and chipsi mayai. Simple ingredients, rich flavors, meals that bring people together. No overpriced bills or fancy menus. Just real food made with love. And don't even get us started on the coffee. If you've never sipped fresh Kilimanjaro brew on a quiet morning, you don't know what peace tastes like. Then we got into the heart of Tanzania. Its people, especially the women, who carry so much strength and dignity with such quiet pride. From the family leaders in villages to the all-women teams in safari camps, they're shaping the country in powerful ways. Their beauty isn't just seen, it's felt. In the way they move, speak, and handle life. In the way they balance tradition with progress. And let's be honest, it's their ability to humble you with one look that truly says it all. And the culture. You can't fit it in a box. Over 120 ethnic groups, all under one flag. A place where Swahili connects everyone, music fills every street, and dance is a part of daily life. It's a country where you'll see a Masai warrior walking with a spear, then checking his Instagram a minute later. It's that contrast of old meeting new, tradition mixing with modern, that keeps you hooked. We also looked at the cities, Dar, Arusha, and Dodoma, and saw how fast things are growing. Mobile money, tech startups, stylish cafes, and young. People doing big things without forgetting where they come from. Life in the city is a hustle, but it's full of passion and innovation. One moment you're on a boda ride, the next you're listening to someone pitch a new business idea. That's Tanzania, unexpected, fast-moving, but still grounded in its roots. And finally, we open the door to the hidden side of Tanzania. The places that don't get the spotlight but are full of real soul, Mbeya's green hills, Tanga's quiet coast, Lake Eyasi's ancient communities. Real family life, local markets, grandmas sharing stories, traditional healers using knowledge passed down for generations. These are the things you don't see on Instagram, but they're the things that change how you see the world. Here's the truth. This country made me rethink what wealth really means. Because here, wealth isn't measured by how much stuff you own. It's about how full your days feel. It's about having time to talk, laugh, cook, walk, rest. It's about knowing your neighbor and feeling like you belong. It's about eating food that tastes like home, even if you're thousands of miles from where you were born. And now, I want to ask you something. What if your best memories are in a place you've never even heard of before watching this? What if the most meaningful experiences of your life aren't in the cities you've dreamed of visiting, but in a place that wasn't even on your list? What if you've been chasing more when all you really needed was somewhere that shows you, How to enjoy less. Don't just scroll past and forget this. Don't file it away as cool, maybe someday. Google a flight. Read a blog. Follow someone who lives there. Reach out to a local. Start a conversation. Ask questions. Think about what you really want out of life. Not just travel, but life itself. Maybe your next big move isn't to a more expensive lifestyle, but to a more meaningful one. If you're tired of the grind, if you're feeling disconnected, if you want to feel something real again, Tanzania might just be your answer. And no, it's not perfect, but maybe that's what makes it so honest. The beauty, the chaos, the kindness, the imperfections, they all come together to form something unforgettable. So here's your challenge. Don't follow the usual path. Go somewhere unexpected. Go somewhere that gives you something money can't. Go somewhere that makes you feel human again. Tanzania isn't just a destination. It's a reminder that the simple things still matter, that people still matter, that nature still matters. And sometimes the best way to find yourself is by getting far away from everything that's familiar. Make your next decision one that surprises even you. Make it affordable. Make it meaningful. Make it completely off the radar. The rest, let Tanzania handle that. You won't regret it.